James Murray. I work for Guy's and St Thomas's charity. I'd like to say thanks to Cass for the opportunity to come and pitch to you today. One thing I'd like to say, first of all, I do think this is a pitch. I think funders need good charities to fund as much as you need the money. So if you're new to the game, or if you've been in the game of fundraising for a long time, you're feeling jaded, try and hold on to the fact that we need you as much as you need us. Anyway, we are the biggest local grant maker that you may never have heard of. So we are set up to manage the endowments that originally founded Guy's and St Thomas's and the Evelina hospitals 300 plus years ago. We've got, depending on the markets today, about £470 million. We spend about £100 million over 5 years on a whole range of things. We're now independently governed, and we're an NHS charity, which is a different sort of flavour of charity. It means our trustees are appointed by Monitor. So, but we run pretty much the same way as other charities, other grant makers. Our focus remains on health and the health service, but our trustees have particularly reminded us it's about Lambeth and Southwark. It's about Lambeth and Southwark residents, which is one thing that attracted me to the place, to the organisation, that we do have this quite significant sum of money and a real local focus. And our vision is, to use the horrible term, I'm afraid, it's about supporting innovation, supporting work that goes above and beyond the current health service provision. And that's, I'll talk more about what that means when not, but the reason for that is we feel the health service now faces two extremely difficult and interlinked challenges. One is around changing needs. There's a changing demographic in the population. The population's aging, that's increasing the cost of care. We're facing problems around youth obesity, which is leading up to a whole range of issues which is going to affect the health service 10 years down the line in a very difficult way. A whole range of sort of increasing costs, escalating costs of care, which presents a real challenge to the health service, along with economic austerity. People say 3-4 years. The pessimists I talk to are saying 15 years, 20 years of austerity in the NHS. So we're facing really hard times, and we need to change and introduce new ways of working to try and cope with that. As I heard in a talk recently, there is no new money, and very much our role is to help cope with that. So the bulk of our activity is targeted on the health service. That's the bulk of where our spend goes. The new Evelina Children's Hospital, we put up 50 million of the 60 million it took to build that on the St Thomas's site. We put quite a lot of money into research infrastructure each year. And we're very lucky to have a very strong research base in the area. But in the last 18 months, the charity, we've opened our doors to all comers, really, any registered organisation, anyone who's coming in with an innovative, new idea, a way to improve the health service. It doesn't have to be your idea. We're very happy to plagiarise and steal ideas from other people. It just has to be new in the area. And what we're here to do is to help take the risk around testing that idea and seeing if it works. Now, what that means we're not about is we're not about funding one-off activities. Another thing we're not about is funding recurrent costs for services. And we get some very large charities coming in. They've got a nice service. They run it on grant funding. They want us to pick up the tab for a couple of years. Then they'll go away and they'll get more grant funding. And we turn them down. We reject that sort of application, because what we're really interested to do is to help you get money out of people like Jonathan, who's the next speaker, it just so happens. Out of commissioners, out of the new clinical commissioning groups, the GPs, to get funding, maybe using personal budgets, other ways, maybe using user fees, using effective volunteering to build a sustainable service that's not going to be on the sort of the fundraising treadmill long term. And to do that, what we're looking to do is to fund pilots and evaluation, proof of concepts, where you can take our funding, show that something works clinically, it's got a good health outcome, show that something is economically effective, it's sustainable, and ideally it's cheaper than existing options, so that you can take it to scale here, and ideally you can franchise the model, sell it around the world, and transform healthcare across the country. If you're going for the big picture. So I'll come back to that point. You know, when we're talking about services, new innovative services, they've got to be better and they've got to be more cost effective, because really there is no new money. What we're interested in is very broad ranging. We want to transform the experience of patients in care. So they report that they've received better care, we reduce unwarranted outcomes, unwarranted variations in healthcare, but we also want to change public health. We want to enable people in Lambeth and Southwark to look after themselves better, to improve their own health, so that they don't need to call on the health service. And that involves sort of helping them to engage with the health service, to influence it, to make sure that it works best for their needs. We're also interested in tackling both mental and physical health, and trying to get away from this artificial divide that there is between the two, and to try and have them sort of being considered more effectively side by side. And we're also really interested in the arts. We've got an arts team, we've got a long history of supporting the arts, funding the arts within hospitals, using the arts to improve healthcare and to improve people's health. And so innovations around that, always very interested to discuss and hear about. For us, in coming to us, I think the things that really matter to us, it's got to be developed with patients, with users, their involvement from the outset, but that's not going to be a problem for you guys. It's got to be in partnership with local health services and with commissioners. If we want Jonathan to fund it, we need to get him on board from the outset. And we need to make sure that the evaluation is going to talk in a language that the commissioners need, so that they can prove, yes, this is something that I need to fund. And most of all, looking to improve the health in Lambeth and Southwark locally. I won't go into sort of the nuts and bolts, but our website is there. I'm sure you can find it. And please have a read, and then if you're interested, if you want to ask any questions, drop us an email and we'll set up a time to have a talk. We're always very happy to talk. There's a pre-qualification stage. That'll be the first thing you'd need to get through, but we can help you with that, help you understand how to work through the process. And I love some of the last points from the previous speaker. One thing I'd say, yeah, always read the guidelines, always answer the question. Thank you.